to change that song, don't I? Oh, we lost one already, have we? We lost Luke, have we? Oh, Luke will be back in a minute. He's probably dancing and
No,
hitting
it's probably being attacked by the bin rats.
Oh, the bin rats,
Yeah.
fair enough. Good evening, one and all. Welcome to another Airfix and Chill. Tonight we are going to be talking about the cost scale modelling, but in a different guise from like normally where we're blaming manufacturers. We're going to look at it a little bit differently tonight. First off, I just want to say welcome back, Ms. Modlin. Long time no see. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, it's been a while, but hopefully it won't be as long next time.
By your compressor, yeah. I think that's a compressor going. Is that Miss Modler's compressor?
Yeah.
Yeah, muting myself whenever I'm not talking.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, oh, brilliant. So nice to have you back. I don't know where Luke's gone, but I think Nigel's coming on as well a bit later.
Luke, I think Luke's internet went, I suspect.
No, that's fair enough. That's okay. So, right, first off, very, very quickly, if I can do this now while I remember, let me just share the screen. If you've not seen on the Airfix channel, they are coming. So I'm assuming that going by the logo, that the Artemis is now ready to be dispatched this week.
Nice.
The announcement's going to be at 9:15 tomorrow.
Does that the Chinese bit below, doesn't it translate late to Moslike's anal probing?
Anyways, that isn't Chinese at all. That is, I think it's some sort of alien, like
predator. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether they're bringing out a scheme for another for a Klingon or something, I don't know. It's like
not Klingon.
I don't recognize that in any form, shape, width, or anything. So
it looks alien.
Yeah. So
or Moz, we're not doing in a bear cat.
Then they'll probably do a bear cat for me. Definitely one day.
Yeah.
Well, they do Jaguars for people, so hopefully they may get to do me a nice bear cat at some point. So, but yeah, so 9:15 tomorrow. We're not going to do a live stream about it or anything, but I will be there.
Bear in mind the date.
The date is April 1st.
Yes.
So yeah, I did notice that, but it'll be a bit fun. So, but if that's the case, then that'll be good. It'll be a bit of fun, really. What time is it? 9:15, though. So, yeah, it would be funny though, wouldn't it, if they announced something, But if the rockets are in, that'll be nice. But I thought they'll be here till the summer. But if it does come in, just in case.
Almost, you've got to look at what the date is, because it's the 50th anniversary of Apollo-Soyuz.
Is
mission.
It?
Yes.
April 1st?
No, it's July.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be watching it, see what's going on, and then say it could be the rocket, could be the Artemis. But yeah, it'll be interesting, won't it? It will be interesting. I go along for the ride anyway. Whatever Airfix puts out, I'll watch it anyways. But yeah, interesting if they do bring out something tomorrow.
Could be be revealed that all the Airfix design team are aliens.
Could be. But the funny thing is, though, is that I've got something coming from Airfix tomorrow because I've got a notification today saying I've got something coming. So I was just assuming that maybe they're in stock. If not, then but anyway, it's all banter in it at the end of the day. But yeah, so something happening at 9:15 tomorrow. But it does have the Airfix space logo on it, though, doesn't it? So whether they have the Artemis in stock or whether it's the shuttle or what's the other one that the Saturn rocket, isn't it?
Saturn 5.
So if they're all there, that'd be good. Airfix shuttle on the logo. Yeah. Interesting. But April 1st. I was going to do one about the logo, and then they changed the logo just after Christmas, didn't they? Which was a bit of a no-go for me. But I had a video all lined up to a bit of a joke about the logo changes because I used ChatGPT and brought up all these funny logos for Airfix. And but then they changed the logo, didn't they, after? Yeah, they did a paper aeroplane I couldn't build it on my Humbro 3D printer, unfortunately. So, anyways, right. What I want to talk tonight was about the cost of scale modeling. Okay, but it's not in guise of the price of kits per se. It's more about how expensive is the hobby to us scale modelers, because I received this comment on the Jaguar video and I thought I would share it so that you could see. The guy wrote, and don't go on my video and look for it and write reply to it. This is just a general thing. And he basically said, imagine buying a car that is so imperfect or so lacking of features that you spend another 20, 30 to 50% on the price of the car in aftermarket parts. Imagine having to buy new tires after rolling it out the dealership. That is what we all have made this industry into. Remember 20 years ago when the most expensive kit was $30 or $40. And I looked at it and I thought to myself, that's a good point, etc. And kind of thought about the whole ethos of, a lot of us do buy a kit and go out and then buy aftermarket. But I think he's on the wrong path, especially by using a car as an example. Because when you buy a car from a dealership, a brand new car, you basically buy the bog standard car. You then go through their catalogue of added extras and you then pay for the tires or the wheels if you want alloy or whatever, and then you go through, you want an updated stereo in it, or you want leather seats, and you can go through the whole list, and before the end of it you will end up paying double for the car just because you wanted aircon and electric windows in it and tinted windows and a different spray job. Do you know what I mean? I think where he's coming from is a little bit out there. But I do see his point, though, that, there are some of us who do build out of the box, and there are those that will go out and buy photo etch, etc., to add to or to enhance a model kit.
How is this any different to what it's always been? Like years ago, a kit. So taking Airfix as an example, because we talked about the Jaguar. If you look at really old Airfix kits, they were very much imperfect. They would often not have all the details in. So your options are then even 20, 30, 50 years ago were to buy aftermarket parts or scratch build, and that is still the same today. So I don't really get this comment, because it's like it's always been that way, because a kit has to be accessible enough for anyone to build, and if you really want that hyper detail or hyper realism, if you really want to go down that route, you're always going to end up either buying loads of extra parts or scratch building. So like, how has this ever changed?
Yeah. Well, I totally, that's exactly my first thought. Well, actually, my first thought was, stick it to the man. But the man's next door when he said it. Do you know what I mean? It came out of nowhere. I will guarantee that with everything that goes on with scale modeling, you make it as expensive as you want it to be. Surely that is the whole. If I bought a set of golf clubs, right, and after 3 or 4 rounds of golf, I realised that my putter isn't as good as, say, a TaylorMade, I would then replace that golf club and put a more expensive TaylorMade putter in, if you know what I mean. And I think that goes for any hobby. You can go and you could be a cross stitcher, and then you can go and buy everything for do a cross stitch pattern, but you don't like the shade of gold, so you go out and buy a more goldy looking thread to finish off that cross stitch. So, but I don't think you can blame model companies for the price of plastic and everything going up. But you can blame yourselves if you want to spend an extra 50, 60 quid on aftermarket parts and resin and photo etch and even the type of paint that you use. That's down to the scale modeler, surely.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's open up. I think Miss Modeler's absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on, Miss Modeler. I think that's absolutely correct.
I mean, just to add in, as someone who's from a different background, like I went through quite bad financial difficulty a few years ago due to bad partners and a lot of life changes. So I was not in a privileged position. I was living paycheck to paycheck, at times struggling to pay my rent. But every now and again I'd buy a model kit and that would last me. And obviously I'm quite lucky that I do this on YouTube. I make money from it and it helps pay for the kits themselves. But the reality is, like, even like in COVID, when my partner at the time lost their job, like I could afford to do modeling. And actually, for the time that you are spending doing a kit compared to going to the pub and buying a few pints, it is one of the cheapest hobbies still, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just bang on. Yeah. Sorry, flipped it. It's $40 in 1990, the same as $100.18 today. So $100 kit is the same as a $40 kit in the 1990s, economically speaking. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah.
I think he's raised 2 points with that comment, and I think Lex is absolutely right. So the first point is that David has highlighted. That Fenris highlighted. Fenris and Casey have highlighted it in the chat. The buying power of the US dollar or the British pound now is very, very different to the buying power that it was in the 1990s. For example, $100 now is the equivalent of what you would have spent $40 on 30 years ago. So that's the first point. So that's defunct. Things are more expensive now. That's the way it is. And it doesn't matter whether it's model kits or food or cars or whatever. They're just more expensive. The point about the car, you're absolutely right, Miles, because when you order a new car, and from personal experience, there are options. So you get the base model of the car, which is, for example, 25 grand. But then you have the options. So if you want the leather interior, you want the bigger wheels, you want the low profile tires, and all these different options, then you have to pay for that. So you have to spend another 12, 13, 14,000 pounds on the options for the car to have the car you want. So when it comes to the hobby, so first is Lex is absolutely right. What time-wise, for what we spend on the hobby, it's a relatively cheap hobby. Yeah. For the amount of hours that we get from it. You do not have to go out and buy the aftermarket, the airbrush, the spray booth, and all that. You don't have to. So for it there, £20 that is the new Airfix Eurofighter Typhoon, and in that box comes the paints, the brushes, everything. So if you choose to build that kit with everything in the box, you can build it and make a model for £20. Yeah. However, there are some of us, and I'll use that kit as an example.
Well, the lifeboat for you, isn't it? The lifeboat for you, 20 quid, but then you added all the resin part and all the aftermarket.
Yeah,
but it enhanced it for what you wanted.
Yeah. And with that particular kit, I've already spent £46 on aftermarket.
Yeah.
So more than double the price of the base kit. But I don't have to.
Yeah.
I can still build it and paint it and everything for the £20. And it's all relative to income and disposable income.
Yeah.
So if you're buying a house, some people will go out and spend £1 million on a house because their salary allows them to do that. Some people will go and spend £150,000 on a house. You can live in both. Do you know what I mean? You can.
Yeah.
But it's all relative to income, and I think
Yeah.
danger is, particularly with YouTube and comments and stuff, and mind you, you've been a victim of it, where people go, "Oh, well, that's ridiculous that you're spending that amount of money." Yeah, but it's my money to spend, so it's my choice. If I can't afford it, I won't spend it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that simple. But the hobby hasn't become more expensive. That kit is £20 with paints and 2 brushes.
Yeah.
I think you also have to factor in that when you look at how let the time compressor off. When you factor in like other hobbies now, so I'm someone who's into gaming, in particular, that's like a good example of this. Everything is now is essentially something as a service. So you're paying, even in cars, the same example. A lot of cars now are trying to have subscription models in place. You don't have that with modeling. You buy the product, you have it. There are some subscription things out there, like if you want like paints replaced on a regular basis and things like that. But you can just buy things, and that's it. I bought all my paints. Like I bought, because I buy mine in sets. So I bought like the Army de l'Air, the French Air Force set.
Yeah.
I bought that twice now. Well, I bought it 3 times, but I didn't actually need to buy it last time. But so I have a spare, but I bought 2 sets of that, and that's lasted me building about like 10 models so far, and will probably last me another 10 before I need to move on to another set. That box of paint was like £18. Then the model kits themselves are anywhere from like, if you shop frugally on like eBay, anywhere from like £4 to £10. Like that's given me hours and hours and hours of entertainment that I'm not having to pay a recurring cost for, that some days are completely free. Like there's nothing where you're going to get that value for money.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't think I spend a lot of money on a hobby, but I don't think at its core it is an expensive hobby. I really don't.
No. Scale modelling is no more expensive than it ever was. Hornby OO trains are just the same equivalent today as it was in the 50s, like fishing tackle, sops, catch fishermen and not fish. So yeah, I get all the way coming from, because as I said, you can make this hobby as expensive or as cheap as you like. You can be frugal. You can buy a second-hand. You don't have to buy a brand new airbrush. You can buy a second-hand one, or you can buy a gallery brush. You know, it depends on what you want. I remember I had just for an example, the Harder & Steenbeck Evolution, and I sold it because I wanted the Infinity, and so that's what I did. I traded basically. I got good money for the Evolution, and I kind of regret ever selling the Evolution now. You know, if I could get another one cheap enough, I would. But you make it as cheap or as more expensive, and also just because you've got the more expensive kit doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get a better finish. I love it in my book, and I explained about the time we had a friend whose parents they weren't divorced, but they hated each other so much that they used to bribe the son, and the son, if he wanted anything, he'll get the best of everything. And one day we went fishing, and there we were, me and my mate, with a fishing rod, with nuts for weights and rusty old hooks, and we were pulling out fish. He turns up because he's never done fishing before, with all the latest gizmos and
Shimano fishing gear and all that lot.
all the fishing alarms. He didn't catch a dicky bird, he didn't even catch a twig that was floating down the river. But he gave up on it then, you see. We were still catching fish with crap, and he had to, so it doesn't make you better.
No. I mean you look at Night Shift, so his go-to airbrush is a Fender.
Yeah.
And look what he does with that. So having the best tools, sometimes it helps.
Yeah,
it does help. And I'm a big believer in decent paintbrushes make a big difference. They do.
Yeah.
But you've still got to have the base ability. Otherwise, you get nowhere.
Yeah.
No idea.
Well, look at Nigel with that boat that he's reviewing at the moment. With all that PE and all that resin and etc. that comes with it. at the end of the day, you paid your monies on that boat, and if you're foolish enough, you may not like the P that's in it and buy something else, you know.
Mhm.
But you know, Airfix deal in plastic, Tamiya deal in plastic, Edard plastic and aftermarket. I get that, okay. That's why Edard kits can be a bit more expensive, but I'm saying, you know, if the Fenger airbrush is a cheap brush to get you into scale modelling. The
To be
only
honest,
reason,
I use the Fender all the time.
yeah, you're a Fender guy, aren't you? It's the FD 186K, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an airbrush. What about you, Nigel? Because you used to make your own 3D resin, didn't you?
Not 3D, no. I used to
Well, you
make
know,
my
resin.
own casters and then make a mold and then cast
Yeah.
it. But I would like to hit the nail on the head, and I think a lot of you will go, yeah, okay. That guy's comment, I've been thinking about it, and I liken that to a Ford Mustang.
Mm.
About 85% of people will go to a Ford dealership in America or buy a Ford Mustang, and they will drive away happy with a smile on their face and play their music and have their arm out the window, and they'll be more than happy with their Ford Mustang. 15% of people buy that Ford Mustang because they want to buy a supercharger, they want to buy coilovers, they want to put bigger wheels on it, they want to put spoilers on it, they want to put wings on the back, they want to change the paint, they want to change the headlights, they want to change the grille, they want to change everything. The Ford Mustang is designed to be modified, but you don't have to modify it. The Ford Mustang is the Tamiya kit.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
You don't have to modify it. It's still a perfectly good car without modifying it. But by Christ, could you make a good car out of it if you want to spend some money? Even to the point where you put a supercharger on it so the car produces 700 horsepower and Ford's still under the warranty.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. I think you're right. That's exactly it. Hey, like that Airfix Jaguar has just come out. I will guarantee you now that you don't. And I shouldn't say a guarantee. I put a bet on that when you look at that cockpit when it's all built, and I've seen pictures of this cockpit built up, and it looks phenomenal. You won't be buying any aftermarket for that cockpit on that Jag unless you are that 15%.
It does look phenomenal.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no doubt that Quintus Studios cockpit sat in that cockpit is going to make it look a lot better than it does out of the box.
Why?
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm kind of not just being a miserable old man, although I am. I'm kind of wondering where we're going with this modelling thing, because years ago you would scratch build a cockpit and add all the switches and dials yourself, and then you would put them, and then then you got like aftermarket decals to put in, and then Edward came out with their photo etch, and then they come out with printed photo etch, and now you've got the 3D stuff. At the end of the day, what's the point? You may as well just buy their shit and stick it on a model.
I think the issue.
If I built a cockpit using Quintus Studios, we would both end up with exactly the same result.
Exactly the same cockpit, and that's.
I'm with Nigel on this one.
Yeah,
I've just put in a Quintus Studio set into a SR71, the 148 scale SR71 from Revell, and it looks fabulous. It looks really good. But I came away feeling somewhat unfulfilled. It's not satisfying because anybody can do that, whereas if you go down and you think to yourself, right, I've got some decals, I've got some this, I've got some that, I can weather this, I can do that. You can now make it a palette for your own talent, and it goes as far as you want it to go.
But again, that's personal choice.
It's a lovely result. Make no mistake about it.
But, and I think Nigel's absolutely right. Yes, the cockpit out the box, I've seen it, got it here. Yes, it looks good for an out-of-the-box cockpit. However, you put a Quintus Studio set in that, it's going to look a lot better than that out-of-the-box cockpit.
Oh, it will, no question about that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Why?
Because of the level of detail that they're able to achieve.
But wouldn't that take? Yeah, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah,
I got no
there's no-
response to that. I got no, but I just where's the fun in modelling then?
Well,
but that's down to the
I can-
modeler,
yeah.
and that comes back to you don't need to buy the aftermarket. You don't need to buy the Quinta Studio set. If you really want that satisfaction, you want that level of detail, then you can go to companies like Annie's,
Yeah,
and you can buy all the individual dials, you can buy all the individual switches, and
Decals.
do it yourself. You can do that and achieve probably a greater level of detail than you would achieve with a Quinta set.
yeah,
A lot more skill involved.
But there's a lot more skill involved and a lot more time and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's all down to the individual modeler. For me, whacking a Quinta Studios or Red Fox set in a cockpit, brilliant, because I've got a level of detail that I'm happy with, and it hasn't taken me 3 months to do a cockpit.
yeah,
But then for other people, they'll scratch build, they'll use Annie's dials, they'll use switches and wiring and all the rest of it, and it will take them a year to do a cockpit. But that's their satisfaction. That's what they get from the hobby.
And then on the other extreme, you get people like me who never buy aftermarket unless they're doing a different decal scheme, and I just build everything out the box, and I'm perfectly happy.
And you're happy doing that.
Yeah.
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 So it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Especially when it's a French decal scheme, Lexi.
Or just anything weird.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. I want to show you. I wonder if I can just download these pictures that Dale sent me of the cockpit. Somebody built the pictures of the cockpit. Let me just download them and show you on screen, because I think if I can get it to if I go big screen a minute as well. If I go big screen, that might be easier. I'll try and get the detail to what that one there I want. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Is it going to?
Higher, mate. There you go.
There you go.
Mm.
That's out of the box.
Yeah.
Do you need any more than that?
Very busy with the Posca pin.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Do you need anything more than that?
It depends.
No, you don't need anything more, but you might want something.
Yeah.
The annoying thing is, Moss, the Quinta Studios cockpit will look better than that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trouble is, the guy that used Quinta Studios can't do that. So he's bought the Quinta Studios, and his cockpit looks better than the guy with all the skill to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. That's what's annoying.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, I agree. The only thing that cockpit needs is seatbelts and some good
Yeah.
paint. Definitely need seatbelts.
Yeah, I'm trying to download them now. I'm struggling to download them for some reason. It's like I've got this
I-
new computer, new phone, and I can't get these.
It's a beautiful kit
Yeah.
out of the box. There's no two ways about it. It's got Parangit's DNA running all the way through it. You can tell.
Yeah.
And it's down to the individual, because ultimately that's going to go on my shelf
Yeah.
in my house. It's me that's going to build it.
Yeah.
So I will build it potentially in a slightly different way to how Nigel would build it, a
Yeah.
slightly different way to how Zinzan would build it, a slightly different way to how Mars would build it.
Yeah.
Even down to the real basics. Like I don't build anything that doesn't go on a base.
Mm.
But the base would take me a month to build. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's differences, but ultimately it's down to the modeler to decide what level of detail they want and what they're willing to compromise on. But I take on board what Zinzan and Nigel have said, absolutely, that Quinta, Red Fox, those sort of companies, they do take away the need for skill and ability.
Yeah.
Mind you, I mean, Richard WL here makes a nice point. He talks about the fact that the detailing of the cockpit is is difficult. You know, it's something that takes time, and maybe he hasn't got the time to do that because he wants to complete the kit, and therefore, you know, and I would answer Rich and say, no, saving time isn't cheating. It's absolutely not that.
No.
I don't think cheating is a word that can be used on this subject.
No, I don't.
No, I was just going to say that. It's not a gamble either, is it? You know what you're getting with 3D resin printed stuff, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
The thing is, let's just say, I mean, Luke is a better painter than I am.
Yeah.
Period. Let's just say Luke Dawson couldn't afford to buy a Quintus Studios cockpit, and I could. We put my model next to his. My cockpit looks better than his, even though he's a better, more skillful painter. That's what's so wrong. You know, it's not cheating. It's just, you know,
Different. Yeah.
I don't get why that matters, because like, who cares what someone else does? Like
Exactly.
the only person you should be pleasing. I mean, I know it's different for us because we're content creators and whatever, but like, really, you only got to please yourself. Like, my partner builds next to me. We've got one kit where we've got the exact same thing. Mine will look better than his. I'm not a good modeler, but I'm just do it more than him, so I am better than he is. But he won't care how mine looks compared to his. He will just be thrilled that he's done his, and I will probably add some bits to mine that he won't. But it's like, who cares, right? Like, and it's not taking anything away from someone who scratch built it. It's just different.
for me, that's
It looks like scratch building, the aftermarket. To be honest, back when I was a kid, there were books doing the scratch building.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like when you go to a car show and there's some lad there with this Peugeot 106 or whatever, and it's got amazing painting. He's gone to college and he's learned how to weld and do this, and he's built this amazing car. And then there's someone else there with this bloody BMW something, and they've paid someone to do it.
Yeah.
Who deserves the medal most? Do you know? Who deserves to win the competition the most?
But I mean, if you're talking about modeling and competitions and who deserves that recognition for skill and ability,
not medal, recognition.
then if you look at, say, an IPMS competition, for example, there are many different judging standards, but an IPMS competition, so there are categories for out of the box.
Yeah.
So if you build this kit out of the box, it goes in the out of box category. So it will be judged on what you've done with what's in the box. Then there are other categories where it's aftermarket and all the bells and whistles have been added to the kit and everything else. So then it's judged differently. It is judged differently.
These are the 3 parts I painted last night. I think I got the details.
Hey, those look great.
You've done a good job there, man.
Dale sent me this, but just going back onto the aftermarket and scratch building, those parts, and I've you know, if you've not seen my review or other people's review, go and look at them. But this is the detail that Pravajit is pushed in there. Now, normally on a kit, this will be rather scarce, but he's managed in his epic, you know, the way he designs kits, and to be honest with you, a lot of this is down to how good the tooling is, I believe, as well. But look at that. What could you add? There's no point in adding any copper wiring or anything, is there? And little bits of, you know, no kit bashing of anything to get things looking right.
Well, to say that
in those parts,
you can't say that, Mark, because there are people out there that they'll sand all that detail away, and they will scratch build the wheelbase.
Yeah.
And also, you don't know until you see the real thing. That might be a really simplified version of the real thing.
Yeah,
it probably is.
In there.
I think it's the people Zinzan would probably clear off all the pipe work and add it in lead.
Yeah. Because there will be people out there, the 15% that Nigel was talking about. So for 85%, that's brilliant.
Oh my God! Yeah.
and I include myself in that. That's fantastic. I'm not going to touch those wheel wells. I'm going to paint them
Absolutely.
as it is. But there are people out there who know that aircraft inside out. They know that aircraft. They know what the wheelbase look like. They know they're looking at really
Look a bit too clean in my eyes, but hey ho.
And they will take all that detail away and they will add their own details to that.
All I'm going to say about one point is that they've gone and looked at a load of Jaguars, taken pictures of all these bays. Surely that is about as accurate as you're going to get. There's nothing you need to add to that, surely.
No,
Good
because they're limited.
Sorry, Nigel, what was that?
That's as good as they can get with injection molding.
Yeah.
That's not as good as you can get.
Okay.
For you.
And they're limited, aren't they? They have constraints.
I'm not knocking the kit at all, Marshall. I'm not knocking Pranjit, Airfix, or anything. Those wheelbases are some of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And even better than some 30-second scale.
Yeah. I just want to make out that I keep saying Pramjet. I know he was a designer of this, but this was a real team effort from Airfix, from the designers, the researchers. I'm just saying that, but what I'm trying to say is, in 1/48 scale, you're looking at something. You're shrinking it down. Surely that would be the best you would. That's what I'm trying to get. Would be they've gone through and had to look at it, and I'm just saying that for me, when I looked at it, there's not much more you could have added to it. That's my point. Is that for somebody who just builds you are going to get the enthusiastic, every single nut bolt. My point is that when it comes to wheel wells or bays like this, I don't think there's much you could add to that to make it better, in the sense of what you're getting is in your builder that's not and doesn't know everything about a Jaguar. If you see what I mean, is that not fair?
It depends how you display it as well. I fix all to a base, so you're not really going to see. You'll see that underneath. You're not going to see more because it's on its wheels. So in that sense, that's good for me. But obviously, if you're turning it over and examining it, then maybe you might add some more.
Okay.
If you want to see what it's really like, Moss, go on over to ARC, Aircraft Resource Center, and there will be people on there absolutely losing it because Airfix have got one too many hinges on the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
There will be. They'll be absolutely, oh my God, they got that red pipe next to those two white square blocks. Everybody knows there should only be one square block there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention Scheme A.
Oh God, is that from 11 Squadron, that one?
04EJ.
But that's where it comes down to personal choice.
Yeah.
So, for example, like Ian said, depending on how you display that model, a lot of this detail wouldn't be seen anyway. But I know Nigel does it because you can see it on his videos. Even if the detail is not going to be seen once that kit's complete, people still do it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Luke.
No, but it's true, isn't it? And for a lot of, shall we say, enthusiastic aircraft builders, of which I'm not, they will display their model. If it's wheels down, they will display their model on a mirror so that you can see every pipe, every bit of ordnance, every pylon, they do. That's how they display them, because they've spent. So a modern jet, for example, at the top is quite dull, isn't it? Take the F-35 as an example. It's quite a dull looking. There's not a lot going on the top of that aircraft. However, underneath, if you open up the bomb bay, there's a load of stuff going on. And if people have taken the time to put the effort in and really super detail the wheelbase and the bomb bay and everything else, they want to show it off, so they'll display it on a mirror.
So
save that picture on your hard drive, and let's revisit this in July and put that picture next to some 3D printed aftermarket ones.
Yeah, totally different.
Eat your words, mate.
Mm.
That is absolutely amazing for plastic injection molding in a kit that costs 50 quid. Absolutely stunning.
I think I try to play devil's. I try to play devil's advocate on the here
Yeah,
when I say these things, but at the end of the day, you've got to look at Airfix, and as I've been rightly told tonight, you have to draw a line somewhere.
of course
Hence
you do.
why when we went to Airfix's release of the Spitfire up in New Haven, they basically said, the designer saying that we now have a pencil or a pen in one, in a scale. So when they do something, how far down do they go with detail? Well, you got to look at what a pen looks like, and that's the joke with Models of Heroes. They've got a pen that says this is 1-to-1 scale. So they put this pen next to what they're designing, so if by their eye they can see how far down they go, and they have to draw a line.
And that is marketed to the 85% that Nigel was talking about.
Yeah.
Marketing,
and they've got the restrictions to injection molding.
And the constraints that come with mass production and everything else.
Exactly. Plus the restrictions of reliable injection molding, repeatability, no sink marks, no short shots. They're some of the best wheelbases I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They look fantastic.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
But like we said,
behind the undercarriage,
modelers, that won't be good enough, and they'll super detail that.
Oh God, yeah.
Because I guarantee, if you stuck your head in a wheel well of a 1-to-1 scale real life Jaguar, there's going to be a lot more going on in that wheelbase.
There'll be hydraulic pipes and cables everywhere, but you could just add 4 or 5 bits of lead and make them look doubly as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what people will do.
Yes.
If they choose to. It's all choice. I won't. I'm quite happy with them. I think they look banging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, they do look good. There's no question about that.
Mm. They're better than what you got in that SR71, aren't they, Zinner?
Yeah, no, you could go a long way down a rabbit hole with the main oleo legs on the SR71, but again, you're limited by scale because the hydraulic pipes are bloody tiny at that kind of scale. It's hard to get them right, to be honest with you. They stop being noticeable after a while.
Yeah.
Well, do the big fuel leak underneath the SR71 if you do it wheels down.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you know the Revell B1B in 48 scale? You can buy wheels, tyres, undercarriage and undercarriage bays for that, all in 3D printed resin, and it'll cost you about £500 for the wheelbase.
There are people that will do that.
It's just mental.
And it comes to the cost, which is what started this discussion. The cost of scale modelling is a very individual. Someone might buy, for example, that Lancaster. How much is that kit? The border models one, 600 quid?
620.
620. So they buy that kit, and then they're going to spend another £1,000 on all the aftermarket and all the super detailed bits and whatever. But they might only build that kit for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't need any of it.
No. But they may do that because they know this is a 5-year build and this is what I'm going to do. And fair play to them. It's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't go to that level, although I put aftermarket on every single kit. But that's my choice. I don't have to. I mean, take the lifeboat's a good example. It is what it is. I did the same with the ferret. I used the kit as a base, but actually, either of those kits, I didn't have to do that. It's just my choice.
I can't wait to see you do a stalwart, Luke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plans are already afoot, James.
Yeah.
I was just reminded then of something that there's a guy, I can't remember, it was on one YouTube that we did, or one Airfix and Chill, and he criticised the fact that they don't have wording on the tyres anymore. And he said he spent more money on resin wheels just to get the word Goodyear or Michelin on the side. just because it doesn't look right without some sort of wording.
It doesn't look right to him.
He said, he goes, you could have put bus wank around there, because it's so small you wouldn't see it, but just have something there. So it makes it look like a tyre. If not, if you spray it up, it just looks like a toy tyre. And I get that.
I get that. Yeah, I get
that. Yeah, me too.
Just because it doesn't look right to him doesn't mean it doesn't look right to someone else.
No, but I think what he was saying is that sometimes, to have a bit of wording and numbers on an edge of it, doesn't matter what it is, you could write anything on there, really. But to change it from looking like a toy tire or wheel to something, because when you weather, I kind of took on board what he was saying, that, and then when you dry brush on your dust and everything, it looks like it's dirty and you can see the writing. It doesn't have to say Michelin. It could say Mod 6510, but because it's so tiny in 1/35, it doesn't matter. But you need that edge to show something, give it something to focus on. But yeah,
depending on how good you are at weathering.
Well,
just saying. No, I'm joking.
Somebody just asked, as guy does scratch building on there, I can honestly say LPJ models. Sully is phenomenal at scratch building and bits and pieces. Don't worry about looking at Black Rifle because he's a knob. And he can't weather either. He ruined that rifle with all that extra detail he put on it.
really shit at weathering and painting.
Awful. Ruins everything he touches.
You know what, right? I inspired. I'm inspired by these folks because I said I went out with basically watching one video of that. I wanted to. Normally, when I do rust effects, it's normally put the paint down and then try and add rust using enamel washes and stuff. But when I did that, Ferguson, I watched LPJ models do chipping, and because his video was that accurate and that well presented, that when I did finally chip the paint off the Ferguson, the result blew me away. And I thought, why haven't I done this 10 years ago? That's the thing is you spend all that time building the model up. You're scared to fart in case you shit yourself, if you know what I mean. When you build this model up, and the last thing you want to do is ruin it by putting the wrong product on it to ruin the finish. But I thought, and I did it.
It's like we were saying the other day, Mars, or I think it was Nigel that was saying that if you want to do that Jaguar in a Granby scheme,
you said this.
Then the way to do it is to paint the green and grey wraparound camo.
Yeah.
Then chip in fluid and then chip it to death. That's what they actually look like. And the only person that I've seen do that to that level is Sully.
Yeah.
Because he did it on the 32nd Gulf War Tornado.
Yeah, Jenny did it as well. Jenny did it on a 48 scale tornado.
Who was that? Who did it?
Jenny. Jennifer.
Genesis Designs.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Is it wraparound camo on that early, or is it lighter on the sides?
No, it's wraparound, I believe.
Are you sure?
No.
On the B.
I think
on the B.
Wraparound.
Okay.
On the A, it isn't.
On the A, it's a light on the side.
What year is the A card? The A plane?
A is 74.
Oh, okay, so
and B is 1990 to 1994.
Okay, so they were wraparound then. All right, I thought they were like red, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just gonna take this opportunity. I'm just gonna drop off. But
hey, thanks for coming on. You were absolutely fine for coming on. Appreciate it.
But yeah, see you later, guys.
See you later. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
But yeah, it is all personal choice. Like, for example, I was watching a Martin Kovac video earlier where he's doing Zimmerit on a Storm Tiger, right? Well, Zimmerit on a Storm Tiger is in like square tiles.
Waffles.
But in order to recreate that at 35th scale, those square tiles have to be 1 mil square. Right, to create that. So he is literally doing that 1 mil. To me, I wouldn't bother my arse, right? I would go out and I would find an aftermarket company that supplies the Zimmerit
Yeah.
already done, and I would stick it on the tank. That's how I would do it.
Should it be one?
He's got the effort of scribing it.
Zimmerit is a very difficult one, right? I have been to a lot of scale model shows where there's competitions. I don't think I've seen it, and this is off the top of my head, so don't beat my bottom or anything with the old scale model Herald or anything. But I have never seen a tank with Zimmerit win anything at a scale model show. It doesn't look. It always looks crap on a tank.
Aesthetically, it's very ugly.
Yeah.
And it's very ugly at 35th scale.
I think it's one of those. It's invasion stripes, isn't it? If you built a 24th scale Spitfire and put invasion stripes on it accurately as they were, you wouldn't win any prizes for it because it would look shit.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. And anything we do.
Putting invasion stripes on a Typhoon accurately, you wouldn't win anything for it.
Yeah.
Anything we do is we have to balance, or most of us balance accuracy with aesthetic look, because everything we do is at scale. But some people, they model for as close to 100% accuracy as they possibly can, but aesthetically it might not look like someone that goes for the visual effect rather than the accuracy. It's just a balance, and again, it's personal choice on how you approach that build.
Fair play. Well, going on from that, which I think is very, very interesting. I believe model kit stuff's coming. I favourite this one because I thought it was a really good question, because I do believe there's a lot to be said in this. I believe the cost of modelling is fundamentally down to the modeler, but the weak content creators encourage people to feel they need to add aftermarket. Now,
absolutely,
I don't, because I never use aftermarket in my builds. I try and get the best results I can out of the box. But I do understand that, like I said, I think that as a scale modeler who doesn't do YouTube but watches YouTube, I would look at it as inspirational, what you can do. So when you watch me, I'm not inspiring you, I'm just trying to show you what I do. But when you watch the likes of Plasma, Scale Model Hanger, is it Lucas, where he's, I can't know what he's called now. What's he called?
Lucas Bruce.
There's a Scale Model Aircraft, isn't it, or something?
Yeah.
What's it called again? Lucas, somebody.
Yeah.
He does a lot of it, and to be fair, I love watching his stuff, but it's never got me to go out and buy aftermarket.
I think the danger comes, and I'm as guilty of it as anyone else, that you think, or I think, if I go out and buy that particular tool, or if I go out and buy that particular aftermarket set or figure or whatever it may be, that my build is going to look like theirs. No, it isn't. It's not going to look like theirs, because you look at the amount of aftermarket that Plasmo put on that Eurofighter.
Yeah.
I could go out and buy that Hasegawa kit and the exact same aftermarket paint, everything that he's used in that build. My Eurofighter is not going to look like it.
Yeah. I wasn't being flippant, by the way. I can remember his name. He's called Dusan Lickett, I think it is. Dusan Lickett. Scale one of the first channels I watched.
No, I'll be honest. I fell for that trap when I started. I came back to modelling in 2015, and obviously I started watching YouTube videos. Nigel, and a few others. And I started, of course, I went for the big edge sets for the photo etch. And I'm a sheet metal worker, and it terrified bloody me.
Yeah,
I love photo etch.
I'm starting.
You're a sadist, Nigel, but that's beside the point.
For an example, looking at the future with Airfix and photo etch and stuff, they made a conscious choice to make sure their kits were available for the 8 years and plus, unless it's got Coca-Cola written on it, where it's got to be 16. That just doesn't. I can't grasp that you have a Lego-based vehicle that can be sold to anyone over the age of 6, and then because it's got Coca-Cola on it, you can't sell it to anyone under the age of 16. That's just shite. That is for me. That's anyway, but. They make the decision so they don't put photo etch as a rule. That Ferret Scout would have benefited having photo etch parts on that back end where they got the slits, because when they tried to do that mesh it didn't work in injection molding, and also the exhausts were a bit fat around the edge, and I get that. The handles would have been nice if it was in photo etch, just drill a hole, bump, but that's by and by. So I make constant choices of that. But when I built that naval tractor, I thought, right, let's get this photo etch done. And I looked at it and I did it, and I thought, what have I been afraid of? Because I've been bitten by the likes of Mini Art and Thunder Models photo etch, put me off. But now I've built that metal steel Millennium Falcon and bending proper steel, and I feel a little, but I've got some decent tools to do it with now. I've invested in the tooling. I think tooling is also part of it as well.
Massive.
You've got to have the right tools to do photo etch.
Yeah.
I still haven't bought that bendy thing that to bend stuff, but I've done.
Well, not being funny.
You never are.
Like Tamiya. They've got tooling for forming out photo etch.
What Tamiya do?
Tamiya kits have got, yeah.
Mini Art do the same, like these little things.
Yeah, Boss as well.
Like that.
Yeah.
And Meng do it as well.
Yeah, but not as a rogue, Coach. The reason that is that was an academy kit. You understand? That was an academy kit.
Yeah,
yeah, again, designed by, even though it's an Airfix tooling, that was designed by Academy for them. But they've done a good job, to be honest. I don't see that being a problem.
Yeah.
In the future.
I tell you what, you should see Panzer's build of the Academy Hetzer.
Yeah,
Panzer Cat. He's doing a really good job of it.
You're on about aftermarket. I mean, this here. $17.99.
Yeah.
Did a review of it, and someone said, "Oh, those." I didn't do a review. I just showed that I bought it. I've got a review to put out, and someone said, "Oh, the tire treads are wrong." Let's have a look. So you have a look and you think, "Oh, aren't they? They're terrible." So now I've gone aftermarket resin wheels, £13.
Same price as the kit.
What's the point?
So you spent £30 on a kit.
But the trouble is, I can't unsee it because I've been told they're wrong every time I look at them. And I sent Moss a picture yesterday.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Put that picture up, and you'll see the difference. The difference is massive.
It is massive, but can you blame Airfix for that when they're really copying what's being put out there? That if they were building those kits when the vehicle was on the road, say, and there was a lot of them, they would have picked up on those tires. But because
to a restored vehicle, and the tires that were available to the restorer were those tires that they've got on there. Yeah. I feel sorry.
Oh no, not being funny. That they've got they went from cross plies to radials, so the tread's different anyway. So
they're mega chunky.
Yeah, they are a bit. Yeah, it is Mr. Blobby, isn't it? Those tires that come from the Airfix.
What were Airfix? Airfix Typhoon starter set, built with a difference. The instructions, Moss.
Yeah.
You're supposed to put those to the fuselage first, aren't you?
Yeah, I looked through the instructions. I'm not going to do that either.
That works. Just do that.
Yeah.
There's tabs on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To remind them. and it's come out lovely.
Yeah.
Video that's forthcoming.
But
Once
the
my
gap would be on the side then.
Sorry,
The gaps will end up being on the other side then.
I don't know. No, it's lovely.
Yeah. But then again, that's another thing. People go on about the FX7, the 7 lifeboat.
Yeah.
You follow the instructions, you're going to have a bit of a pig of a build. But if you do it the other way, where you build the top and then the hull in after, it goes together lovely, allegedly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The only time I really go to town with aftermarket is when I'm converting a kit to the Australian version. Yeah. Whereas, if you have the cockpit set, sand down the plastic flush and add the photo etch. Yeah, that's what you normally do. But yeah. No problem with the pricing, just the company's delaying sending items and they don't have the paints in stock to back their own products.
Yeah.
That's an Airfix problem. That's a Hornby problem, not an Airfix problem.
Yeah.
To be fair with Airfix, and I think Dale said this on one of the chills. I'm just making sure he said it on the chill now before I say it. Oh, I'm going to say it anyway. The only kit they failed in getting out within the time frame of the release was that Typhoon, and that was because when the tooling, the sample came across, it was wrong, and they had to send that tooling back for modification.
Mm-hmm.
But they took that choice, and to be fair, like everything, if they did it like Apple does when they announce a product and they say this will be, we the new iPhone 16, it'll be out in 3 weeks, but then they wouldn't have much to put in their January release video, would they? It would just be reboxes. There's that fine balance, isn't there? And I think special announcements, secret announcements are a good thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the model shops don't like it because they don't have a chance then to get their pre-orders in and how many are going to buy. There's this often balance, but at the end of the day, when people are knocking Airfix for selling online, I say quite clearly, quite openly, they haven't got the model shops to supply to anymore.
No.
My nearest model shop is Hobbycraft, and it's miles away. So why would I travel 45? Jadlam's about an hour away, when I could just sit at home and order it on the computer.
Well,
I know it's a difficult one.
How many shops in Japan? Nobody knocks Tamiya.
No, there's not many, is there?
Nobody
What about
knocks
Edgard?
for selling from their shops.
Yeah. I do, I'm not knocking, as I said, the reason we got model shops because nobody buys in model shops. Well, when I went to a model shop, it wasn't just to buy Airfix. I would buy other kits as well. But it just happens that it's, and Airfix have moved on. They're supplying their stock from the website. Revell do it. The only thing is, though, is that Revell don't do it to the UK anymore. You have to. They only supply model shops or online shops, and at the end of the day, a lot of these model shops that are online, they could run it from a phone box, because all they do is they can. If you say I'm ordering this kit, they can then order it from Gauge Master next day, and then ship it straight out. Or what a lot of them do now is that there's a bucket pool. I know of people who sell on eBay, basically drop shipping. There's a big warehouse somewhere. If you get the sale, you tell them you sold it, and then they ship the product out for you, and all you do is take a couple of quid off the top end of the price.
I don't know about you guys, and you guys in chat as well. I'd love to hear your opinions. The bit that really pisses me off is like what's just happened with this trumpeter, Gerald R. Ford, that you saw me do a 27-piece review on. They had that kit in America first week of February, and we still don't have it in the UK. Jadlam's got some from somewhere, and they've got some more. But they've got it in a couple of places, like in Norway, Germany. They've got them, but there's none in the UK, and they're not all in Europe. And here we are now, April. America had them first week of February. I wish they could just send all the shit out at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right, Martin. Hobbycraft isn't a dedicated model kit shop, though, is it? No, it's not. But it's the best thing. I'll go up there to get my. They sell like the foam board, and they sell sheets, plastic sheets that you can get like model shots. But then again, no, I go to Home Bargains to pick up all like me little sponges and stuff. Like I go to the women's section, pick up hairspray.
Yep.
For scale modeling, the bloke's looking at me a bit weird. Why am I picking up this? Like, little
Not being funny, I think that the cashier looks very weird at Nigel when he goes to pick his hairspray for his chipping.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
They don't.
Those eyelash brushes, they're fantastic for modeling stuff.
Yeah.
I get funny looks when I buy shampoo. Casey, can you please add in which color is that? I know 381C is the BS code, but the 380, because I've got the colors written down here for Moss.
Yeah.
He asked me about this yesterday.
Yeah.
I've got the colors written down.
381C on the new Jaguar. Doesn't say
381C is the prefix. 380 is the suffix. That's the bit that makes the difference. Future
Okay.
just beeswax.
Yeah.
Auto clean.
It's difficult.
Do you happen to know with the when they went to wrap around camo, was the green and the grey the same colour?
2 texts.
Don't know.
I'll look it up tonight. I found a website with it all on because Moss wants to get the colours and I've got them listed.
Yeah.
Here.
Don't know.
I mean, really, I'd be tempted to use Tamiya XF82 1, 2, and 3.
Absolutely.
But the Mr. Colour paints are a lot nicer and they're a lot tougher. But they stick.
I think I'll try some of that Mr. Colour.
Sorry?
I might try some of that Mr. Colour on this one.
I've got some coming in for you.
Yeah, brilliant.
If I were you, as I just said, I would use XF80 1, 2, and 3. But I didn't realise that 1990 was wrap round, so I don't know if it's a different colour now.
XF80, 81, 82, did you say?
Yeah.
81, 80 is too light. 80 is like the colour of a ship. 81, 82, and 83. That's a green, a grey, and a darker grey.
We'll have a go, shall we?
Yeah, dark sea grey, I think it is.
Hmm?
I think it's dark sea grey instead of ocean grey.
Yeah. Dark. Oh, right. Yeah, dark sea gray.
80,
I bought that for that
81 is dark.
45 destroyer. Sorry, Nigel.
81 is dark green 2. 82 is ocean grey 2.
Yeah.
83 is medium sea grey 2. Now, what we don't know, Moss, is if the 81 and 82 changed when they went to wrap round.
Okay. 81 dark green, okay.
That's what I would use if I would use Tamiya XF paints are just so forgiving.
Yeah.
Yes.
60% thinners, 40% paint, isn't it?
With
No.
that, yeah, that's what you like doing. Is you can't ever say. I sometimes go 78, 80%.
Yeah.
I might only ever go 30%. That's why I've gone off Tamiya LPs because you just can't predict.
Yeah.
Yeah. With XXF, I know the kind of rule of thumb is to the neck of the bottle, and that will be airbrush ready. But
Yeah.
it does depend on the colour.
Yeah.
Because the pigment changes.
Don't you find the Tamiya LPs are disgustingly terrible?
I like certain colours,
Yeah.
but as a range, I've got the whole range. But I did go back to X and XF
I just sprayed that Paladin. I used a whole jar of LP30.
Mhm.
It just looked black. It just
Well,
See,
not,
when I was using XF, I swore by this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I put mine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't, I use, when I was doing it, I just felt that was just the better finish on it. It's
not being funny, Nigel. I used a whole bottle of LP30 on a 148 scale Tamiya Challenger desertized.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
It's like LP34. I think it's a light grey.
Too thin.
Awful.
The pigment's crap.
Even straight out of the bottle, it's just awful.
Goaters
It's beautiful.
100 says, I live on an island, so I have to order online. Although, and this is where I spend most of my money, I support a model show when I find one on the mainland. And I'm the same. I would go to Brooks Models with 60 quid's worth of stuff. And a lot of it is, I always try to get my staples from him when I see him at a model show. So, I'll always buy, I know I shouldn't, but I still buy Tamiya Extra Thin in a bottle, the light green one. Anything else, I just use Mr. Tool Cleaner or Airbrush Cleaner from Tamiya in the normal green one. But I always pick up a bottle of that. What was it I got him the other day? I got this off him, the enamel odorless. Because I was getting the smaller bottles. He does the bigger bottles of that. So I buy extra tools and stuff that I'll probably never use, but I just want them anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now. And if I see Brooks, if I see deluxe materials, I go and buy, some Brush Magic or Liquid Gravity. I've gone off their perfect plastic putty though. I think there's better out there than that.
It's just bloody grout. It's just tile grout.
Yeah.
No, it's decorator's chalk.
Great talk, yeah.
And their cement is.
I don't rate their cement. I don't. No, I kind of agree with that. But if you wanted a child to use it, it's less fumey, isn't it? That's the thing. It's less fumey. It's more sweet, isn't it? But then, like I say, when you go to these places, I do go and buy whatever. Brooks, he was the one who had the universal weathering carrier from VMS. Love that stuff. Because if you use their glue for doing up the windows and it over spills, you can use the universal carrier to get rid of any excess. It's good shit, that. Really good. John Alec, my mate, why don't you just say it on the screen, John? Just jump
because it's fine. It's fine.
Sure.
Folks are talking, Like the chat. It's fine.
Just start with, hey, and we'll all be quiet.
We'll all be quiet. Yeah, hey. MRP is good, but you use a lot of it, and you try to get hold of it. It's really hard sometimes to get hold of MRP, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I would, if in the future, with outlaw paints, I would move on to MRP for some of those, especially military colours. I'd use MRP.
Not being funny, I've had hay fever for the last week, so painting's been a no-go. I have to have a mask on.
Yeah.
MRP, I've got with the extractor on. I've got to walk out of the workshop.
Yeah. What's your thoughts though, Jason? Now that they've taken out the MEK in the Humbro enamels, because when I first started using enamels, the first thing that went through my airbrush was an enamel paint thinned down with enamel thinners, and I was all right with it, but it just took too long to dry for me. It just took forever to dry.
And it was leveling thinners. Dries instantly.
Use leveling thinners.
Yeah, it's straight, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I did on my Lysander.
Well, is that before or after the MEK was taken out?
For me, it would have been before, because I haven't got Umbral paint it's younger than 10 years old.
I'm hearing with the MEK, it either clogs the end of the tip dries too quickly or something or other, or it dries inconsistent if you put it through an airbrush. That's the two things I've heard about it.
All of my Humbrals are old, and they spray like gorgeous.
So why don't you spray with it then, Nigel? What's your reason for not using Humbro enamels for your airbrush?
I have no answer to that.
No.
Nope. I know I did an aircraft and I want polished finish on a torpedo, and I used coat, Humbrol metal coat,
Yeah.
with leveler thinners, and that came out wonderful.
Really?
But I only did it. I was doing paint chipping tests for a video, and I wanted to see if you could use Humbrol enamel sprayed over hairspray and see if it would chip. What do you think happened?
The hairspray came off with the paint.
It chipped beautifully. It was awesome. It was really controllable.
Yeah.
Oh, it was wonderful, and it was like spraying silk. Beautiful.
Mm. See, I've cellulose thinners. Which one though?
There's only one cellulose thinners.
No, what I mean is, yeah, but do you cellulose thinners?
Oh, old or new?
The old one.
The Humbrol, wasn't it?
Oh, they still
They
use
used to use
cellulose thinners.
thinners, didn't they?
Moss, to be honest, I'd use leveling thinners. Don't use cellulose thinners.
Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't use cellulose thinners.
The trouble is, if it's a bit of a warm day, you've got a bit of a draft, it'll just go down and poof, dry. Whereas with leveling thinners, it takes the time and it levels it out.
Yeah. Tamiya extra XF in 1 to 60 range have not enough pigments to get all colours properly. That's what Casey's saying. And model kit stuff saying too many paint systems. And then he also said that he reckons that they're touch dry in about 30 minutes, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
They already talked about modelling. Yeah, we still kind of are. we spent an hour on it, resin and everything. So if you want to go back and watch it, like a lot of people do, Tuesday we get like a real jump in viewers because I think people treat it like a podcast on the way to work and that. So I do love the old Humbrol enamels.
Yeah.
I don't like XF as they're horrible to brush.
Oh, they're awful.
Yeah.
Terrible to
They're not brush paints.
But then we know someone who brush paints using Tamiya.
Yeah, Paul Wiltshire. And he gets a lovely finish.
Yeah.
I've seen, I must admit, what's his name? Ron Calvary do it on his boats.
Yeah.
And he thins it massively and brushes it. And you look at it, and it's like, because you always bring the camera, Danny, into like 80 times magnification.
Yeah.
Putting this paint on, it's like, oh my God, what have you done, Ron? You just put a gallon of paint on a 200th scale boom, you know. And it's like an hour later, it's dried. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I used to brush paint with excess without thinners. I used to mix it properly.
Oh, I always call it like dragging a bloody slug over an oily tile.
Yeah.
I've never had that experience of dragging a slug over an oily tile, Nige.
You drag the brush over after you've put one layer down, and it just pulls the old layer up, doesn't it?
You let the paint dry.
Yeah.
So you let it dry for at least 4 hours.
Just get some acrylic
Maybe
dots
8.
with that, and it goes gorgeous. I'll tell you what is really nice that nobody's mentioned is Revell paints. You fit those with water, and they brush beautifully.
What's that? The Aquas, the Revell Aqua.
Yeah, and I never thought I'd say this. Moss is going to come up to Gloucester and give me a kiss. I've been using the paints that came in this starter set for brush painting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love them.
I keep telling people
They are good for that.
They're better than yellow.
I'm going back. You know, I've got Vallejo at the moment, Model Air, for doing my figures and stuff. But I am going to go and buy the Gen 2 acrylic. You don't put it for an airbrush, you know, you're pissing in the wind on that, okay, you know. But when it comes, and I've seen loads of people now doing intricate detail using these Gen 2s. And I think Gen 2 are better than.
These are called Gen 2s.
Gen 2, they're called in a bottle. Yeah, Gen 2.
These paints that are in this model are Gen 2s.
Yeah, Gen 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The black is gorgeous.
Dale said in one of the Airfix videos that they actually dumped all of the old paint with the pot because there was a leak. They're letting air in and then drying out. And they I think 50,000 bottles, or it was like £50,000 worth of paint or something ridiculous like that. I think it was. Don't quote me on that. I'm just randomly thinking of a number. Yeah, they redone them all. and so now when you get them, and to be fair, I don't really need to buy a lot of the Humbrol colours because I've got them in one of those little pots. But somebody just said then the thing I don't like about them is the lid on the pot is a bit crap. But so's the Revel Aqua. I don't like their square pots. I know there's a reason for it because you can you shake them and mix them, and then you take that lid off, and it becomes like a paint palette, doesn't it? So it's got but yeah,
I don't like those lids because when you open them, if you pull the lid back, the paint runs all down the side.
Yeah.
What I did, and I actually showed it in my video, my part 2, just leave the pot there with the lid at 45 degrees and let it just drip off.
If somebody
they're really good. Get one of those.
What is it?
It's a vortex mixer. So essentially, it's powered. Normally, you put the bottle of paint on the top.
Is that available from your Amazon shop?
Yeah. I don't have an Amazon shop, but yeah, you put the paint on the top for like 10 seconds, turn it around, do 10 seconds, perfectly mixed every single time.
Wow.
Wheezy models have a lung condition. Paint is a big subject for me, and I recently bought some Atom paints by Meg. Nobody really says a lot about them, and not many reviews out there. Need you guys to reassure. What I've heard is that I've not used them personally. There's a mixed review. Some people think they're okay. Some people say they're no better than what they had previous. It's just a new name. Are you airbrushing them though, or are you using a heavy stick? That's the question.
They market them as an acrylic paint that behaves like a lacquer.
Yeah.
That's
the problem is, Weezy,
that's not true. It doesn't behave like a lacquer at all. It behaves like
my tuppence worth is, as modelers, and you're probably feeling the same. A few years ago we had Tamiya, Revel, and then Viejo came along, and then AK came along, and now we've just got every man and dog is producing paint, and they're not only producing, they keep changing it. Paints are there now. Gen 2, the Gen 3 real color, and then the real color lacquer, and the real color pens, and then camo, and then Megano Atom, and it's like, oh, for God's sake!
Well, not being funny, you've got another set of AK real markers, haven't you? So do a different set of paints for them.
Yeah, but the problem is that if you look at this is where you got to look at the landscape. So AK released these markers for military, and they're not all there. There needs to be some more, but now they've released them for the wargaming side of things, for the fantasy, for the the Warhammer. And that's right. We should be doing that. But Nigel is absolutely. There's too many paints on the market, and like I said, with Outlaw, you don't. I use Outlaw because I like it. It works well for me. I can put it back in the bottle once I'm finished with it. But if there was no Outlaw, I would go back to the normal. I didn't buy AK for years, but I've kind of, I've had a dump since then. And I feel empty. I've been buying AK stuff just to try it out, like the AK. But one of the things I did say to Humbrol at the very time, you should never rename a paint a Gen 2 or give it a number, because they'll be wanting Gen 3 next. And then when you do bring out Gen 3, there'll be model shops pissed off because nobody wants Gen 2, they want the Gen 3. It's giving numbers doesn't give a legacy for someone else. It kind of inhibits your sale. And then they would say, well, you said that Gen 2 was your best jet. Why should we trust you now with Gen 3? Do you know what I mean? It's to start putting, and AK do it as well, don't they? They've got like Gen 9 now in it or something or other. And is it AK that do it with generations or different numbers?
Gen 3 though.
They're on Gen 3. Well, I want Gen 7. I want, you know what I mean? It's, end of the day, all it really is bloody clay pigments and whatever in it. You know what I mean? It's It's
For
just
years and years and years, I've been airbrushing with Tamiya X and XF paints for years. And when I first started my brush painting with Humbrol, and I was perfectly happy and everything was fine. And along came Mr. Hobby, which is quite nice, but it does take quite a while to dry. And then along came LP and Viejo and AK. And I mean, look at the primers you can get, those Steinel Reds. You know how much trouble to get up with those bloody things. You know, it's all this stuff, and nothing is really a big improvement over Tamiya. Is it?
Well, I'm not sure if I agree with that. Otherwise, you get changed paints in the same bottles and you can't tell what's old or new stock. That's the point. You don't tell them. You just, if you think there's a better mixture, just put it out there and let people decide. You know, I just, it's never, or you give them a new name. You know, it just this idea of giving it Gen 2, marketing, you never do it. I know you do it with phones and things like that. You know, Samsung Galaxy 49, whether they're up to 69, whether they're up to now. But yeah, my favorite now is 8K RC. I get on well with them. Is that what this is? But they don't come in these bottles. They come in different bottles now, don't they? 8K.
Yeah, they come in a tall plastic bottle.
Yeah.
8K real colours. Yeah.
My friend who's a flanker wanker, he loves this. When he does his flankers, he loves the AK. And you look at his flankers and you know the job, you think that paint job's fantastic. And he uses AK.
I think paint is very much an individual choice of what works for you. So, for example, you look at, I use for airbrush predominantly Tamiya.
Yeah.
Brush painting Vallejo, mainly model color, but I do use some Model S stuff and some game color.
I prefer the model on the brush.
Brush painting fantasy type stuff, I use Citadel. For what people do military wise, the color range is not the best because they're designed for the fancy market, obviously. But there are other people. I've used Mission Models paint, and they do it's a fantastic range of color for military modeling, but it's a faff. It's a real faff. You've got to add like additives and all this stuff. But then other people swear by Mission Models. So it's a very individualistic choice paint.
No, I will add my own tuppence worth that I do brush paint Tamiya XD on small scale surfaces, and I thin it 50-50 with the old Mr. Colour leveling thin, and that seems to work pretty well.
And you brush
and you can get, when I brush paint it, yeah.
Bloody
So
hell.
I thin it 50-50 with Mr. Colour leveling thinners. It's because I'm lazy as well, because if I thin it 50-50 with Mr. Colour, I can stick it straight through an airbrush as well. So, and I've adventured with other things. I used this MRP stuff that I found was really good. I've used you'll know this better than I will. This Alclad mil spec stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody makes that anymore, do they?
That's enamel.
It's an enamel paint, certainly. I mean, it smelt mightily unpleasant, it must be said, but that went down pretty well.
So Alclad as a company has stopped trading, so you're absolutely right, but they're still making it, but it's now rebottled by Ammo by MIG and it's called A-Stand.
A-Stand.
All right, okay. Well,
that is Alclad.
Oh, that's interesting to know. But
I don't know about your experience, Luke, but my experience with Alclad, the new Alclads, is they've got a lot less pigment than they used to have in them. And also with stupid shaped bottles with the square neck. If you pour them, you get no pigment out. All you get is thinner. Doesn't fly.
Right. Yeah. They're not the same as Alclad, but they're marketed.
Yeah, they're not the same.
They're not. Just quickly, Julia's asked, I also saw the wrong one. Who does the best dropper bottles? I find Humber incredibly hard to squeeze. They are. It depends which color you get. For some reason, the red is like squeezing tomato ketchup out of a glass bottle. It's so hard. It's proper thick. But then when you get the black and the yellow, it comes out like water. And that goes along with more. I find when you get normal Vallejo or the not
They're
Modelo, they some of them are quite hard to get out of a dropper bottle,
I've never found that. MRPs are awful because they're quite hard.
Yeah,
because MRP used to have the stupid dropper top, didn't they? It was
they did. Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. But yeah, other than that, I think you'll be doing. ICM acrylics are really nice for brush painting. Not quite as good as in an airbrush, but I've moved to them from Humber acrylic.
Aren't they made by Vallejo?
What's that?
Aren't ICM paints made by Vallejo?
Vallejo, yeah, I'm sure it was.
Do you mean Vallejo?
Vallejo. Vallejo.
Vallejo.
By me Jimenez.
Actually, Vallejo.
Apparently, in Spain, V is a B, so you say Vallejo.
Vallejo.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah. Well, get a Welshman to say it. They'll probably say it better.
Yeah, you probably have a good chance of.
Indian is a B.
That's one product I've never used, and I mean this from the heart.
It's
Tamiya paint retarder. Because
Brilliant.
if I ever use it, I always just buy the lacquer thinner with the retarder in it. Never had to buy the paint retarder.
This is Tamiya paint retarder to enable you to brush paint the Tamiya paint.
Yeah.
They also do a lacquer retarder, which you put in the LP paints.
Oh, I see.
If you want to get a gloss finish, put that 10% of that in there. Oh my god, it just levels out. Wow.
Well, on a Tamiya, on Tamiya LP, you put 10% of that Tamiya thinner, and it goes.
Yeah, like 30%.
Yeah, if you want, I mean, I don't use LP for metallics.
We don't do really, Luke, to be honest.
Say again, mate.
You don't really gloss, to be honest, do you? Not really.
No, but I use, if I'm doing metallics, I use Mr. Colour Super Metallic, I think it is.
Yes.
Super Metallic 2. Put that with Mr. Colour Thinner that's got the retarder in it, and it is so shiny. It's unreal. It levels so well. And Tamiya retarder or their lacquer thinner with a retarder in it does exactly the same thing. If you're using that with LP11, I think it is.
LP11.
On like a natural metal finish aircraft or something, it's brilliant.
LP11, I think you could put it in your mouth and spit it onto the bottle and it come out.
not being funny, I've got a bottle of LP11. I haven't had to replace it.
It's brilliant.
Really
Got so much pigment in it.
And the LP72 mica silver. Amazing. I've never used Hakat Nohan.
Sorry, did you say Hataka then, Nige?
Yeah, Hans was asking if any of us have used it.
Before I went to so my journey's been this Tamiya. So going back to my journey for paint, Humbro enamels, Humbro acrylics. Then went on to Tamiya XXF. Then went on to LP. I then got the Hataka, which I've still got here. Actually, I've still got the orange and the red range. I think orange is their lacquer-based one. I think, the lacquer-based one.
He's getting his lightning out.
And I bought them in kits, and then I went on to Outlaw, and I've pretty much Outlaw, but I'll be moving away from Outlaw if it doesn't come good.
That's LP11 with Tamiya lacquer thinner with the retarder in it. Some of the panels are metallics, but there's no clear coat on that at all.
You don't need it, do you?
Because you just don't need it.
Is that Tamiya LP11 and what's the other one? LP11 and
Mica Silver, I forget what it's called.
Mica Silver is LP72.
LP72.
And then you've got polished aluminium, which is LP70. And then you've got sparkling silver, which is LP38. I think LP38.
That's very impressive, Nigel. We're not worthy.
I'm sick and sad. Well, look,
Nigel's got a cheat. What you can't see is Nigel's got a cheat sheet by his screen.
no, I haven't.
I don't believe that. Don't believe that.
Nigel, do
That's
you have,
the only colour I can remember all. It's sad.
Nigel, do
No, it's
you
good.
have
It's good. I like it. I
do
like it.
you have a book, an old Revell book with all the numbers in of all the paint?
Yeah.
We should get that put into and get that digitized and then have that as a little booklet. You could have that for channel members for your channel, or the Revell book of.
Copyright. The trouble is, it's really out of date.
Yeah.
It's it came every time I show it, I get asked, "Where'd you get that from?" You can actually find it on Google. The number of times I answer people that ask questions on my channel, I go, "Google is your friend."
Yeah.
Where can I find out more about a two-seated English electric lighting? In Google, put two-seated English electric lighting. Yeah,
Put
these
in
are
Nigel.
they're cards. They're basically cards, and what they do, they're done by. It was made by Model Airplane magazine, and it starts off with Humbrol colours. So number 2, let's find one that we got them all for. Here we go. Number 11, silver. So you got Model Air H8, Model Colour C8, Life Colour LC74. M is, what's M? Model Master is 1790. PS, which is Polyscale, which probably doesn't even exist, 505276. Revell 1990, Tamiya X11, Viejo 997, and Extra Acrylic X501. What more could you want than these cards? They're brilliant.
Just quickly, that was my favourite set. This is the second set I've bought. So if I was doing Battle of Britain D-Day, that Hataka set is right up on my list.
That's not the right colours for Battle of Britain, Moss.
Isn't it?
No, Battle of Britain was earth and green.
Yeah, dark earth, dark green.
Yeah, dark earth's in there, night.
Oh, is it? The picture on the front was green and grey. That's why I said it.
Yeah, you got
The what's it scheme on there?
there's a load of colours underneath.
Right.
And there is
Royal Air Force paint kit. So you've got dark earth, dark green, interior grey green, sky type S, ocean grey, medium sea grey. So you've got that's what they that. And I used it when I built that tank. The that's a good one as well. The modern, but these are. I think somebody said they like MRP but thicker. But yeah, good. And then the other one,
there used to be a search engine called Ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a new one. It's called Ask Nigel.
Ask Nigel. But yeah, that's what it is. And this is the red one, which is you have to thin this one down. It doesn't go well for an airbrush. You've got to thin it down.
Is the red one acrylic?
Yeah, the other one's acrylic. Yeah.
And the orange is lacquer.
Lacquer, and the blue is the brush paint.
Right.
Very, very handy that the way they've done it. I think it's quite cool. Red acrylic, blue is brush paint, and then you've got the orange is the lacquer. And I don't thin them down either. I go straight in. They call it orange line lacquer based formula. You don't have to. I never thinned it, so it comes a little bit thicker, but it doesn't need thinning really. But it depends.
It's a bit like Viejo, isn't it? Viejo is
the
Model Air is crap through an airbrush. The Model Colour is crap through an airbrush.
Yeah.
The Games colours are crap through an airbrush.
Agreed.
They're all crap through an airbrush.
Yeah.
And they're great for brush painting.
But they're great for
And
brush.
Jason just said the Viejo liquid metal, is that the one that's equivalent to
Bigger bottle.
Like this. These are fantastic.
I think they're absolute crap.
Do you really?
I got them, they wouldn't dry.
The burnt iron was fantastic. Burnt iron, this one. I loved it.
Have I still got it here? No, I've chucked it out. I had a wing here. And 2 years on, the paint's still sticky.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Comes with a ball. It comes with agitator in it as well.
But,
But yeah, I think it's brilliant paint.
I know I've got a couple up there still. I just can't get on with them.
No.
Why bother with shit?
I can't either. Even the Vallejo Air.
Hell.
The only thing
I know. I'll get burnt as heretic, but I used to get on with VAO Model Air.
I remember you telling me, James, just thin the shit out of it.
yeah. But
then
then I do a Model Air, it should go straight in your airbrush because it's
If
called
you
Model
use
Air.
very
isn't
thinner,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, but you used to find with VAO Model Air that it was very dependent on the weather.
Yeah.
yeah, you still need retarder with it.
And it's
Yeah.
retarded.
Flow
No,
improver.
forget the retarder. Chuck the retarder in the bin. Just get the Model Air cleaner. VAO
Yeah.
Model Air, the airbrush cleaner, because that's got the retarder in it.
But my question is, why bother when you can chuck some XF78 in there, chuck some leveling thinners, give it a stir, and it sprays beautifully.
Yeah, not be funny. You can chuck some XF78 in there, put some VAO Model Air cleaner in it, and it self levels.
Right.
Paint finish is beautiful.
Ian Carriage, right? When in doubt, put this out, right? This honestly, this is like a Swiss Army wife. You know, it's brilliant.
Be careful what you're saying, Moss.
It
On
is.
public-
It's a Swiss Army wife.
Yeah, but you
Or
that with some paints and it turns into cottage cheese.
Yeah, I'm going to say
it does
has
cottage
blue
cheese,
line.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
Don't
put
do
that
it
with
with
steel and it turns into cottage cheese.
tell you what's what?
Don't use don't use it with this. It doesn't work. It goes-
Really? I've used it on blue using this stuff.
Yeah.
I tried it. It took me about 3/4 of an hour to unblock the airbrush because
Yeah.
it just
Oh no, I would never
you made
put
a point
that
and
blue
laugh.
stuff. I would never put that blue stuff through it. It's not designed for airbrush.
No, I realise that now.
Yeah. on the majority, this is the stuff I just whack this in. And at the end of the day, if you're trying stuff out, you shouldn't be just using this in a brush, then put on a model. You should be testing before if you're doing something new, test. It's like measure twice and cut once, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It's about testing.
Oh, I do.
Whacking on. What's the matter with you, man?
To be honest, I discovered this by accident. I had some VAO Model Air red, Ferrari red, okay, mixed with the
Brilliant.
VAO Model Air cleaner. I accidentally put self-leveling thinner in it. It sprayed beautifully.
Mm.
Jim Brook, question. Have the panel just answered the question of the night by spending the last 15 minutes
Yeah.
It's not the scale modeler, it's the Airfix and Chill gang. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Jim Brook wins the
I think
prize for the question. of
Earlier
the
up in the chat, George came up with a really good point that you pick a brand of paint, doesn't matter which one it is, stick to it, spray it, brush it, experiment with it, and get good at using that brand of paint. Because they will all have their benefits, every single brand, like they will all have their downfalls. But if you stick to it, and there's no magic paint. There is no magic paint that is going to give you 100% results every single time, unless you get used to using it. The thinning ratio of the paint, pressure, and everything that goes with it. But if you stick to one brand, then eventually you get good at using it.
What I would recommend, if you just want to get one brand, just one, if you get the Tamiya XF range and some bit of retarder for brush painting and some leveling thinners for spraying,
You're laughing.
You're there.
You're laughing.
Could I just
go with Vallejo? It's great brush, but whatever you do, it's terrible in the airbrush.
You say that about solvent-based paints, but I've used this on Humbrol and stuff. The thin.
Yep. Yeah, it works with Humbrol enamels. It works with Tamiya.
I just said I used that on Humbrol enamels, and you were surprised that it worked.
No, acrylic. Humbrol acrylic.
Sorry.
Oh.
Jim said MLG is for solvent-based paint, not true water-based acrylic.
Which is why Zinzan had the issue in his airbrush with the Attacker blue line.
Oh.
But I've used this with Umbro acrylic.
Yeah, but they're not true water-based acrylics. That's why.
Well, Umbro. I thought Umbro.
They can't be, because chemically MLT will react with a true water-based acrylic like Vallejo.
Right. Okay.
Jason, you can brush Tamiya acrylics with their own retarder or Other World acrylic doctor. You can brush paint it. You need to put 2 or 3 thin coats. That's the trouble.
If you see on my messy workbench, there's my paints are basically Tamiya, Vallejo, and Humbrol. I brush paint with all of them.
Can be done. Look at what's his name? What's his name? It'll come to me in a minute.
David Damick?
No, Australian fella. He is like Mr. Machine and Krieger. Anyway, he brush paints with lacquer paint.
Yeah.
And I tried it.
How the hell does he do that?
So I tried it on, not on the figure, but on the actual suit. Following his guidance, that Machine and Krieger suit is brush painted with Tamiya LP.
How'd you do it?
I just thinned it within an inch of its life, basically.
Yeah.
So this just goes on and dries.
Yeah, so I used the Tamiya LP thinner with retarder in it.
Yeah.
And just brushed it within an inch of its life. It does work, but it's not an easy. There's easier ways of doing it.
I've brush painted detail with LP, like little unions and stuff on a hydraulic hose, but I've never used it on another chair.
There's easier ways of doing it.
You are right. No, just look through my video when I used it. It wasn't the stuff I used. It was the Tamiya acrylic thin, the Tamiya thinner I used on the
X28.
Yeah. Sorry, my apologies. That's not the other one. Is the blue one? What's the blue one? Mr. Colour Thinner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it rapid thinner? I think.
No, it's Mr. Colour Thinner, the blue one I used as well, but not that. That's my bad. So I've just looked at my video that I did. I actually used the Tamiya acrylic thinner on Humbrol. It made it go really well.
I think you'll find, Moss, if you mix Vallejo with MLT, it turns to cottage cheese.
It really does.
I think it gets thicker. The more you add, the thicker it gets. It's weird.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said what I said, but
yeah, that's the one. That's it. That's what I used on with the Humbrol. That's the one I used. Yeah. So my bad. Yeah, I get that then. Okay. But what about the blue one? The blue one. What's the Colour Thinner 400? I must have used that on it before. I've had that bottle for years.
No, that's the same thing. It's just in a smaller bottle.
No. The blue one. This one.
I mean, the guy that was on here earlier, I think his name was Wheezy Models or something.
That one there.
Where? But if you
yeah, that's different. Yeah.
That's the one I used as well, I think.
If you get the Chubby Aqueous range, you can thin those with water.
Yeah.
They spray beautifully. I just want to clarify something for Ian. The number on Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners, the 250, the 400, it is literally, it's the volume. It's nothing to do with the bottle. The 400 is the big one, the 250 is the small one.
Yeah.
Well, the little bottle is 110, isn't it, though?
Yeah. That's it. No, I'm just going to turn my video off a minute. I got the video in the background. I'll just turn that off. Yeah.
No.
So that's it. Yeah. So the MO2, that's what I got wrong with. I thought that I used this on Humbrol because any doubt I just jump on this. Any like Tamiya, Tamiya isn't water based, is it? It's alcohol based, isn't it? XF.
I think you can thin it with water. I think.
yes, you can thin it with water.
Yeah.
Because I created washes out of Tamiya paints with water.
Yeah, I get that.
So I've just done a test just to show it. So that is Vallejo
Yeah, I ordered some Oragel.
mixed with MLT, and it is literally going lumpy and
You're off
clumpy.
camera. You're off camera, Luke.
There we go.
Yeah.
You can
God, look
see.
at that.
Turn it upside down.
So yeah, it's just going like that.
Look at that.
Add more to it. See what happens.
Just,
The weirdest one I've
well,
had.
it'll just turn to a coloured MLT then, essentially. But you can see on the end of the cocktail stick what it does.
Yeah.
It just turns, like you say, to like cottage cheese, basically.
Yeah. It's life colour is thinner anyway, isn't it? Life colour is alcohol based, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
The difference between the blue label Mr. Thinner and the MOT is that the MOT has a retarder in it, just like the Tamiya Lacquer Thinner with retarder.
That's correct.
Right, okay. Fair enough.
Now, that's another one. The Revel Aqua Thinners. Have you ever tried that, Luke? It smells like bloody perfume. It's gorgeous. The blue bottle, my God, it's bloody wonderful.
Never done it.
It's poured.
Take me off full screen, Mars.
No, I like you on there, mate. Hey, take your hat off.
This one, guys, that one there for your Revel. Yeah, it takes a while to dry, but it ends up really tough paint. And it's beautiful. It's a really sweet smell. It smells like it almost smells like a lovely.
Show people what it looks like now, Nigel. It's not very unprofessional. He didn't put you on big screen. That's it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Revel Aqua, dude, those little square things that they come in, they're non-functional.
But it's fantastic paint, John. You brush it,
try to spray it.
and it's really tough as well. I've done video. If you go back like 2 years ago, I just sprayed it straight onto plastic and then did the nail scratch test. Revel was one of the toughest ones.
Nice.
Viejo was absolute rubbish.
Mm.
You could just rub it off with your finger. It's like a glue sniffer, yeah. I do. I also look like a twat as well.
Mm. Revel Aqua does the same. Retarders, yeah. I understand it's a living agent, but I haven't done much with putting acrylic through my brush for nearly. Well, how long have I had Outlaw paints for? 18 months? 2 years?
No.
That's how long ago.
2 years, probably.
It must be 2 years. I must have had them 2 years now. Yeah, it must be 2 years because I had them. Telford. Yeah, it must be over 2 years.
No, it can't be because James had them at Telford the year before last.
Yeah, year before last.
Yeah,
and I had them.
Mark bought the full set a year before that.
I bought the full set, didn't I?
Yeah, but okay. I was thinking about you having the company.
No, yeah, not me having the company. No, Jane. Yeah, that's what I mean. No, I've been using Outlaw for about 2 years, and I've not really used anything else. I said before then it was Attacker, but trying to, trying to put things through a brush. I don't really need to now.
I will say this: Outlaws do work quite well with MRP.
Yeah.
You can thin Outlaw with MLT.
Yeah. Oh, MRP, Nige.
MLT, I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can thin MRP with it as well if you really want to.
Yeah. Well, I did have to thin. I think I had to thin the ammo black because I was getting tip dry with it.
Bloody hell.
Oscan black.
I had a really weird one. I thinned some Steinel res with MLT and it sprayed beautifully. And then I said I showed it on the channel. I said this has been sprayed with Steiner resin with MOT, and someone said, "No way, you didn't thin that with that. No way."
Mhm.
I'm like, yes, I did. And I put it in the airbrush again, and it turned to cottage cheese.
Yeah. I was just saying, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But my go-to for most paints, the thin down, even the outlaw stuff, I've been using that MOT.
Yeah, I use it for pretty much everything.
Yeah, but I thought that
except Vallejo, as you've just seen.
No, but I thought I used it to water down or to thin Umbro, but no, I was using the Tamiya X28 thinner for that.
Let's just see quickly before we go. Can you thin Tamiya? Sorry, not Tamiya. Can you thin this in MLT?
There we go. I'm pretty sure on the video I do use X28.
That's number.
I've got a matte 78 here.
Okay. Black. Green. Who's laughing?
I'm just laughing at what John Christmas put about you.
But
He's never wrong, John. He's never wrong.
Me, never wrong. Yeah, lovely.
So it is mixing, is it? Umbro and that MOT.
Yeah.
So
But that must mean that Humbrol acrylic is not a true water-based acrylic.
Oh,
Vallejo is a
no,
true.
don't do it, guys. Don't do it. It's made the brush.
There you
The brush is turned. It's like I've just dipped my brush in super glue.
All right.
The paint. Look, put me on full screen, Moss. This is mental. Look, the paint.
Yeah.
The paint is still liquid. Yeah, I can still stir the paint around, but the brush is rigid. I've just fucked a brush.
Nigel, can you send me some of that?
Yeah.
Nigel's created a blue pill. Yeah. Dip it in the Umbro, then dip it in the MOT, and then thank me later.
It is actually gone like I dipped it in bloody super glue. That is mental. How weird is that, guys?
Nigel tries things so we don't have to.
That's right. I do it all the time, don't I?
Yeah.
Can we have a whip round for a new paintbrush for me, please?
There's one in that starter set box, mate, you could have.
Yeah, they're really nice. I like those. Hang on, the tool cleaner's getting it out.
Yeah, tool cleaner will do it, mate.
Yeah, but it's going to melt the bristles on your brush.
Get me off you bastards.
That's what he did with his head. He put that in that tool cleaner, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's coming back, but I think it's ruined it. It's all gone like
Yeah.
a
Just
flower.
put that soap on it. It'll be
Yeah, it's
fine.
all right, Nigel. It's not ruined. You can use that for putting the pigments on.
Yeah.
Cut the brush down, use it for pigments.
Mm.
That'd be one of my best brushes. I'm an absolute animal with brushes. I destroy them all. If Luke saw me working with paintbrushes, he'd absolutely stab me in the face.
Hey, take care, Julian.
Which I wouldn't mind because then they could treat me after.
Julian.
Mm.
All right, Julian.
Well, to be fair, because it's 10 o'clock now and we've gone through everything and I've been educated on when to use MOT. It's weird, isn't it? No, I used to use it on everything. Any paint, I used to use it on. You know, I mean, like the Tamiya, the Hataka lacquers.
Yeah.
And I
Because
say,
they're solvent based.
yeah.
So with Tamiya acrylics, They're not water-based acrylics.
It's got to be it's got to be some sort of chemical solvent in it. Hasn't it?
Solvent.
Which life colour is? The life colour's got a chemical
If
solvent.
if Alex was here, he'd probably say that the Tamiya paints
acrylics
be a
are
high
no
risk.
alcohol based. So that's why it works really good with them, because alcohol being a solvent, obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, or if you're that in doubt, use the A28 thinners from. If you've got water base, you can use that A28 thinners from Tamiya.
Excuse me.
X28.
X28.
No, you can't use it. X28 because it's alcohol based.
X20 is the enamel one.
Yeah, you can thin the hammer with that.
Yeah.
It's tough though. I can't scrap it off that wing. It's straight on bare plastic. It's just going to ruin your brushes. It might be all right to spray.
Might be all right to spray, yeah. Hasn't it gone to cottage cheese though, is it?
No, the paint stayed level, but the brush went solid. Weird.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, it's gone down.
See what John Christmas has been said about me first. Let me have a look. Where is it? Where is it? Can you put it up, please, boss?
What's that? John Christmas. Where is he? I can't see him. John Christmas. He hasn't said nothing, I don't think. Oh yeah, hang on, I've just gone past him. Nigel uses thinner but readily shot.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, folks. Yeah, Moz 20A is for acrylic, but yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. If you've got acrylic paints,
yeah,
you can use that. I use that on the Humbro as well. I think Matt from Modern Moments, when I originally was watching him, he was using a lot of X20A on using it with the acrylic. But then the Humbro paints have now changed into this Gen 2. So just saying, it could be that. Anyway, folks, we decided that you make the sounds a bit like what's it called, Sesame Street. Today we talked about the letter B and the letter C and number 25. But no, I think at the end of the day, you make the scale modelling hobby as expensive as you want it to be. Okay,
yeah.
And that's exactly the point we come to before when we were talking about how expensive kits are. You know, sometimes if you really, some kits are out of your price range. So if you can't afford a Tamiya Lightning, you're buying a Tallery Lightning instead and work hard to get a good result with that one. So, yeah, that's been
buying an Airfix. No, not being funny. Buying Matchbox Lightning.
Matchbox.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us. We'll be back again next Monday. But just on the Sunday is Yova Model Show. I will be there in the puffy up tent that they have there in the marquee thing there, Sports Centre. It's all like it blows up with air. So we'll be in that one on Sunday. So you want to come and say hi to me? I'll be on the Iska Scale Model Club table. I'll be milling around as well. But anyway, that's it from me. Thanks all, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
See you now.